Noon all, we'll call the July 7, 2025 meeting of Greenwood Board of Public Works and Safety to order, 5:30 PM. Roll call, please, Amanda.
Mr. Coleman.
Here.
Mr. Rutherford.
Here.
Mr. Hoover.
Here.
Thank you.
Minutes of regular session of June 16, our last meeting, have been distributed to members of the board. Any corrections, additions, or deletions from staff?
I'll move for approval. Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. First, we're going to move to Robin Bishop, 309 Maple Street, for Holman Heights. Discussion of a request for an adjustment to sanitary sewer. Robin, are you with us online?
I am. Can you hear me?
We can, thank you.
Okay, great.
Tell us what's going on.
Okay, so Black Friday, I woke up to a river in my front yard, all the way on the east side. It was 18 inches deep, all the way across the front yard. The west side was 3.5 feet deep. And so I called the water company and they sent someone out 2 hours later. I made the call at 6. They got here at 8:30, and young man said, it's a break on our side. He said, I have to call my supervisor. He said, I'm going to turn the water off. And Wayland was dispatched, and they got here about 10 o'clock. And the excavation team dug up the pit, fixed it. By 1:30, I had water. And I just assumed that since the water company and sanitation talked to each other, that they would take care of it. But I called January, February, March, April, May, and finally sanitation. I said, I want a supervisor to call me. And Sarah called me back and said, you have to call the city attorney. The water company has failed to provide us a reading. And I didn't know it was my job to inform the water company, hey, you have to provide them a reading. The water company gave me an adjustment. And every month I was calling both the water company, and they would say, you have to call sanitation. And sanitation said, you have to call the water company. And so here I am. I just want a $125 adjustment. That's all I'm asking for. And it's not an unreasonable ask.
Sam, how much up to, I know Greg's not here.
I don't.
I'm online.
Oh, hi.
Hi, Greg.
Hi, Greg.
Hello.
Fill us back in on, from your perspective, what's going on here. I know we were
So,
getting ready to talk about this a while back, but
right. And so on our side, if the water company makes an adjustment that is not to the gallonage, then we don't have a way to verify how much usage change we need to make. So if they change the gallonage that was paid for, they would send us that adjustment automatically and we would adjust the bills for it. When they give just a flat dollar adjustment, they don't send through anything to us to notify us of an adjustment
But
because they haven't changed usage.
Greg, they made 2 adjustments, one with gallonage and then an additional $30. They took off.
My understanding from Sarah was there was not a gallonage adjustment that was sent through our system, and it's automatically connected. They pass through all of those readings to us.
Well, that's what my bill says.
But in these cases, what we normally do if water has not flowed into the sanitary system, we would have an automatic adjustment per rules that have been set by the Board of Works, where we would adjust it based on what the reading would have been in the summer period where we have that adjusted reading. So with this one, my understanding from the application was that there was water in the basement that flowed into the sewer system.
It came through the window, but that
Okay.
only ran in the house for 10 minutes, because as soon as it was flowing in, Waylon was here and the dig started with the excavation. They had the water turned off.
Okay. Well, my understanding just from reading the paperwork was that there was the water having gone through, which is why it had to come through Board of Works for an adjustment, because whenever any flows go through the system, we're not allowed to make an automatic adjustment. So from the staff side of things, the recommendation that I had sent to the board was to, because the water company has basically admitted faults by providing the adjustment, we would recommend to the board to do the same process that we would provide a customer who did not have the water going into the sewer and would be given an adjustment automatically based on that. So based on that, we have calculated, though, that the total adjustment would be $46.86 if we were doing it based on the winter or the summer usage adjustment process.
That's a joke.
That's the staff recommendation.
Well, that's a joke. You should, I have been ripped off. This is the second water break. The first one was my fault on my side. I spent $10,000. I didn't ask for anything. I got nothing. And the second break, not even less than a year later, April of 23 was the first break. November of 24 was the second break. And I just feel like I get ripped off by the city, and you guys are interconnected. And if I misspoke and said water came in my basement at the very end. And if it went through the sanitation line, it didn't go in the sanitation line long, because where it was coming in the basement, I was capturing the water, pumping it out with a sump pump. So it wouldn't go anyplace. I didn't want the basement flood.
And as I said, though, if that hadn't been on there and indicated it going into the system, it would have just been an automatic adjustment of $46.86 that would be applied. That's how we would have done it for any customer that did not have something flowing through the system. The only reason it had to come to Board of Works is because the paperwork indicated that it had gone into the system, and we don't have authority to adjust that automatically.
Well, who does have the authority to adjust and make an adjustment on my bill?
Well, we do. Board of Works does. We have a request for an automatic adjustment of $46.86. We have a request by the homeowner for $125. Pleasure of the board.
I'd move to pay the 125 adjustment, 125.
I'll second that. Greg, is that a sufficient enough information for you to get that back with your staff and take care of that?
Yes, we will do that. And then Amanda, if you'll send us the minutes once they're approved, we'll attach it to the account.
Will do.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Thank you.
Say aye. Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Good luck. Okay. Next on our agenda is 2507, but that's being taken off the agenda, so we're going to talk to the chief about a couple other resolutions. First one's 2508, right, Chief?
That's correct, Board. Good evening, Jamie Washoe, Fire Chief. Probably about a year ago, we went with Lexipol to help us revamp our policies and procedures for best practice in the fire service. It was headed up by Assistant Chief Coy. Pretty heavy lift, well over 600 pages. Resolution 25-08 requests approval for adoption of Fire Permit Procedures Manual. These are operational procedures that tell us with an operation, a structure fire, EMS ball, that sort of thing, how to mitigate those emergencies. So I would ask for approval for adoption for a fire department operational procedures.
We have the resolution in front of us. Any questions for the chief or?
I do.
Okay.
You had procedures in place before,
We did.
and then this is just using the same national firm that the police department's currently using, right?
It is.
And then the police department, I think, as part of their approval, maybe it's something separate, maybe we can look into it with legal, but on their updates, so that there aren't updates every, week or whatever, and you're coming before us with those updates, that you take those as a package or something. I can't remember how we passed that up here, but that's something you may want to consider bringing forward to us so that you don't have to keep coming.
Not that we don't want to see you every 2 weeks,
But as I understand, they update procedures quite often. Sometimes.
They do, according to best practices and national standards. Sometimes Indiana code changes as well to navigate those. That's one of the things that we do enjoy about Lexipol is they do stay on top of best practices. And if Indiana law changes, they will send us the change that we need to do with our procedures. I did speak with the police chief, and I do agree because they tend to send you a lot during the course of the year because there are constantly being updates with standards, National Fire Protection Association standards, and things like that.
Chief, would you like to amend your request to make it the adoption of the procedures manual by Lexipol as amended, so you don't have to come back every week?
I would.
Thank you.
And Chief, do you have the opportunity to, once you review those proposed changes, which I assume you do as soon as you get it, if there's something, would there ever be an opportunity where something might not apply to our department?
So the one thing that we would say is if we did something internally that we wanted to change a policy or a procedure internally, that would be something that we would come to you before that we sent that out to our membership for review. But as far as Lexipol goes, I would like to stick with that amendment with them doing updates to not have to come back.
I would move that we approve resolution 25-08.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
The next resolution is 25-09. This is a request for approval and adoption of fire department clothing allowance policy. I view this as more as a procedure. We have procedures in place for our membership to go through certain channels in order to get the approved money for the clothing allowance for certain vendors and things like that. Really, there's nothing that's changed as far as that, but from the past. But it was something that Lexipol addressed as well. But we would like to have that adopted as well for our membership.
And we haven't seen those, but we will see that resolution soon.
The attachment should have gone out to the actual policy or should have gone out to you. We just don't
We
have
have the form to sign.
We don't have a form to sign putting it in place.
Questions for the chief on this issue?
Move for approval.
I'll second.
Further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
That's what we're thinking.
Okay. Mandy, we'll try to get that tomorrow.
I'll have it for you tomorrow. And I'll reach out to the
Okay, thank you. Next, Eric Carter, talk about the Speedway Fuel Center, Crescent South. Eric, are you with us?
Yes, I'm online. Can you hear me?
We can, thank you. Tell us what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, we're here to request release of 2 maintenance guarantees, 2 bonds for the Speedway gas station located on the southwest corner of East Main Street and Graham Road. City staff has went out and inspected the site and put us on this agenda that it's ready to release those 2 maintenance bonds.
Paul, everything's good?
Everything's good.
Okay. Well, I'll move that we acknowledge that the improvements are installed within the public right of way are still in satisfactory condition and release the maintenance guarantees for them.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thanks, Eric. Have a
Hey,
good
thank you.
evening.
Have a good evening.
Next, we're gonna talk with Michael Morgan, Sagebriar. He's got a couple things on our agenda. Michael, you with us?
Michael is not with us. He is on vacation. This is Allison Goldberg. I work at Pulte of Indiana, so Pulte Homes of Indiana. So I'm going to stand in for him.
Thank you. Go ahead, Allison. We're gonna talk about
So-
section 1A first. What are we doing there?
So we would like to ask for acceptance of improvements, acceptance of maintenance guarantees, and release of performance guarantees for Section 1A.
Yeah, the improvements of dirt work, storm sewer, the streets, and then the improvements they actually did along Five Points Road for Section 1A, and then the signs and monuments, and everything's been inspected. We have as-bills, all the fees are good, so.
So you're recommending an unconditional approval?
Correct.
So moved. Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. And then section 1B, Allison.
We are looking for, again, acceptance of improvements, acceptance of maintenance guarantees, and release of performance guarantees.
Looks very similar.
Yes, and it's, yes, the same items. The only thing they didn't do any improvements out on 5 Points
Move for
Road.
approval.
Second, further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. And your third one for section 3, Allison.
So lastly, we are looking for acceptance of performance guarantees and acceptance and execution of inspection and testing agreements for Section 3.
Now, in this one, they want to get started on that section, so they have to provide these items up front, and everything's in order.
I'll move for approval. Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thanks, Allison.
Thank you, guys.
After all.
Yeah, let Michael know you had a tougher time getting it through.
I will tell him how hard this was and that he can't take vacation anymore.
Correct.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Next, Scottsdale Estates, Adam Mears.
Yes, hey, members of the board, I'm on.
What was that? I missed that.
Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, okay.
Yep, I'm on.
Scottsdale Estates, section 3, what are we doing here?
We'd ask for acceptance of improvements, maintenance guarantees, and release of, I think, 3 performance guarantees.
All again, unconditional approval.
Everything's fine against dirt work, storm sewer, streets, and then the signs and monuments, everything's good.
I'll move for approval.
I'll second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, always a pleasure. Bye-bye.
Next, Ed Sturger with Duke Energy, talking about North Meridian Street, Old Town area. Ed, are you with us?
Yep, I am. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I can now.
All right. So yeah, what we're doing here is for Duke Energy, we have a pole inspection program going on, and we have some pole failures along that section of Meridian that we want to replace. There's 7 poles in total. So this work will entail a road closure. We've submitted our road closure plan. We're just looking for approval and okay to continue with our project that will begin slated to start on Monday, the 14th, and should complete by that Thursday or Friday of that week.
And so you think you can get it completed by when?
We should have those 7 poles changed out by the 20. Let me look at this calendar real quick. We're going to start on the 14th. We should be done by the 18th.
Yeah.
Have you reviewed the?
Yeah, it's up on the screen. Yeah, I think we feel comfortable with the detour route. There's not many semis that travel this section, and there have been semis on Meridian Street and down Wiley Street from Madison. So the only thing I want to break up, and Randy's here, sanitation. Ed, there's a sanitary sewer project that we're going to be starting right in that area, probably within the next week or so.
Okay.
And, this has been ongoing for us. We got the bids out, we've awarded the contract, and then you came to us with this. We just want to make sure that you're aware that our sanitation department and the contractor they've hired for that work could possibly be in that area during that time frame, and Duke's gonna have to work with the city on this because we've had this out to bid and need to get it done.
Okay.
We have
Now,
we have a pre-construction meeting coming up, but we're not sure of the date yet. It would be
okay.
great if we could invite you or another representative from Duke and your contractor to that meeting, just so everybody can be familiar with each other.
Perfect. That would be great. Originally, this was supposed to be completed, but they switched the outage window on us and pushed it back. And this is the only outage window we can get for this line.
Yeah.
And that's why we're doing it at this time. So we'll be more than happy to coordinate with you guys and meet with your contractor and be present in your pre-con meeting.
Okay. Great. That sounds good, Randy. Yeah.
Well, so maybe if a motion is forthcoming, it would be not necessarily for the specific dates that they requested, but that they coordinate with Paul and Randy, make certain that priority is given to the sewer work, so that Duke can work around them or work at a different time.
Right. And I'm sure we'll try to work with them too. But we just want to make sure everybody's on the same page.
Okay.
Yeah.
If that's a motion, I'll make that. Is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Further discussion?
I just want, Ed, would you be the one to contact for this pre-con?
Yes. Go ahead and contact me, and then I will coordinate with my construction manager and then the contractor. So yeah, I'll be your point of contact.
Okay, that sounds good.
There's off.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thanks, Ed. Appreciate your cooperation on this.
You bet. Thank you guys. We'll see you later.
Anyone from the audience wish to address us, either here in the room or online? Hearing none, we'll go on to Mr. Hodson.
First up, I'd like to do my walk-on, please.
And even though I know what's coming, I'm going to recuse myself.
This is a request for authorization to purchase property commonly known as 325 South Washington Street. It is currently occupied by the Indiana Motor Vehicles, Bureau of Motor Vehicles. It's 1 acre parcel. The purchase price is $1,155,000, which was supported by the appraisals that we had on it. We expect the BMV to remain a tenant in the property because it's surrounded by city property and has a building that would be very useful to the city if the BMV would ever leave. We're not really, we think it's a great deal for the city, even if the BMV decides to move somewhere else.
Okay. You're just looking for a motion?
Yes.
For approval to have this.
One other thing, can I add to that? For your motion, please include appropriation of those funds from the sanitation utility so that we can be able to cut that check when it's needed.
Okay.
All right, I would move for approval and with the appropriate appropriations.
Through sanitary utility. Okay. We have a motion for approval. I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. You have Ellen,
Huh?
You have Ellen.
My final thing is a remediation and maintenance services contract to deal with the fire station 93 bioswale. And this is with Ecologic LLC, and the amount is $15,164.95.
For approval.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
You have disposable offers.
Oh, that's me too?
Yeah.
Okay. May have noticed we replaced all the chairs on this dais, and the old chairs need to be dealt with.
Disposable because they're no longer useful for their
Yes.
function. Okay, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you for taking care of that. Paul?
The first item is the easement encroachment request document. We have one property at 2504 Harvest Moon Drive. The property owner would like to install a fence in the rear yard, actually just connecting two fences that is on either side of them. And they're encroaching into a 10-foot drainage utility and sanitary sewer easement. Engineering department recommends approval with the 4 conditions listed in the memo.
And it's on the docket for approval, correct?
Yes, yes.
Is there a motion to approve that? Sign the docket when this comes by.
So
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
The next item is the replat of blocks D, E, and F in common area 2 of the replat of Swartz Crossing Commercial Subdivision infrastructure plans. There were performance guarantees put in place, I think it was 4 years ago, for dirt work and storm sewer, street improvements, sidewalks and pathways, and signs and monuments. The construction of that entire project for the infrastructure has been very slow. And we've been trying to get the developer to move it along to get it to the completion stage. And we've been dealing with them for over a year. We've been given answers saying, yes, we will do that. Yes, we'll get on that. I don't know if you've driven by, there's a stockpile of dirt that it's gigantic. I don't know if it's 50 foot tall. And I don't know the initial length, but they have taken away some of it. We've told them for months they have to get rid of that dirt. We keep being told, yes, we will get rid of that dirt. Within the last few months, we tried again. They said, yeah, we're working on that. Well, the guarantees for those items are due to expire on September 9th. And we don't want to let this go too long. And we're asking for the board to authorize staff for us to draw down on all these performance guarantees by, if they don't either renew the guarantees or have the improvements brought to the board by August 18th. I mean, it's been a nightmare for us.
Who's the developer?
Swartz
Doing
and Mr. Cleveland. Pete Cleveland.
Okay.
And we've tried, but to get them to do, there's things out there that need to be taken care of. They have not done them. The contractor, it's impossible to get anything from them. It's been a headache.
What's the amount on
Well, there's 5 of them. The dirt and storm, 678,000 plus or minus. The erosion control is 94,000 plus or minus. The streets are 243,000 plus or minus. Sidewalks, pathways are 45,000 plus or minus, and then the signs and monuments are almost 19.5 plus or minus.
So is it
And we-
the elderly father,
Jack or
Swartz,
Scott?
Jack Swartz,
Scott?
Scott?
Yes,
and Pete Cleveland?
yes.
Pete.
And we've tried to help them, to remind them to work with it. And I don't know.
And August 18th is the date you're proposing. Why are you using that date?
It was just the last Board of Works date that they could go to so that we would still have time to react, because if we wait till the first meeting in September to see if they do something, that's like September 3rd. And I just, you can, yeah, definitely change the date if you want. I just know that's the last reasonable date to give staff time to react and to do something if they do not move forward or give us renewed letters of credit. But when they received an email in April of this year, so they've known now for almost 3 months and still nothing.
Okay. Pleasure, board. Well, I'll move that we direct staff to notify them that they're going to request the authorization to begin the drawdown process if we do not have either extended guarantees or this resolved by August 18th.
Second.
And to let you know, they were informed of this back in April, that we were going to go through this process, probably in July, if we had not heard it.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, so they have been notified, and we can do it again.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, Main Street design?
Yeah, there's a drainage and public utility easement that we need on parcel 20A, which is 499 East Main Street. It's at the southwest corner of Holt and Main Street. And it's for any utility relocations that may need to happen to keep that project moving forward. So we're asking for the board to accept and execute that easement.
I move for approval.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. What's in the road?
Clutzinger Road, well, it's actually, I think it's a completed project. We're gonna have a final walkthrough, but
It's good to hear.
yes, it is. It's definitely had its share of issues. And to get the project finally closed out, because we were having trouble with all the rain events that were happening every few days. And it was hard to get the final grading completed and the swale seeded and blanketed. So a decision was made to install sod in that area instead of seeding, to hopefully be able to stabilize it and not have any issues in the future. And so the decision has been made. Actually, it's already in place. So we're actually asking for you to ratify this, to have seed installed. And then we removed and took out the items of seeding and erosion control blanketing in that area. So the net increase was the 7760.05.
It's a motion to ratify the authorization of change order 7760.05.
I'll move for approval.
I'll second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
The next two are the Audi Golf Court additions on Sheik Road, and then the Subway Big B Coffee that's being built there, taking the Captain D spot on US Highway 31. We're just asking that you authorize the mayor or deputy mayor to sign the operations and maintenance manuals for water quality.
What are they building?
Which one? Oh, Audi?
Yeah.
I think they told us during the review that they're putting in simulators, I think, going inside there. I think that's the big part of the addition that they're doing.
It's a pretty good sized addition.
Yeah. So that's what they're wanting to do, I believe.
Pleasure to board on Audi Golf Edition, Sheik Road.
Move for approval.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Subway Bigby is the exact same thing with the O&M manual authorizing the mayor to sign.
Move for approval.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
While we're in that neighborhood, when is Prime 47
It's under construction.
modification of the?
Oh, is that the current? Okay.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's all that engineering has.
Greg, do you have anything if you're still online?
I do have one item for you. As you're aware, the council approved the city to go with GM Development and Meyer Najum to do Station 95. Then last month, the RDC approved a resolution that upon completion of the project, when it's turned over to the city, they would issue bonds from the Worstville Road TIF to fund the project. However, we do need to have funding on the front end of the project. And we determined that in order to save on interest costs, we could use the cash on hand through the sanitation utility and then have those bonds issued to reimburse the sanitation utility once the project's complete, which is estimated in summer of 2026. So I would be looking for an appropriation from the sanitation utility of $15,443,388 to fund that Station 95 project and then be reimbursed next year in 2026.
15. Greg, 15 million, right? Not 50, right?
15 million, yep,
Okay.
443,388.
Stop my heart too.
Go say, no, I didn't remember doing that.
Sorry, I'll over enunciate since I'm online.
Okay. Questions for Greg on that?
I move for approval.
Second.
Discussion, hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Keep an eye on that.
You know it.
Mr. Rutherford,
I would move for approval of the claims as presented.
I'll second that.
further discussion, hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We'll stand adjourned at 6:06 PM.